Hare Krishna, thank you for allowing me to speak a few words on His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami, with whom I had a strong connection. My history is that I joined in 1980, and I went the first time to India, to Mayapur in 1986 during the festival of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. At that time, Bhagavan Prabhu was our guru, he was our GBC, and in Mayapur there was a huge festival with the 500th anniversary of Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu. So I may have seen His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami at that time, but I did not connect with him on a personal level at that time. So 1986 was a very turbulent year, because at that time several of the 11 gurus had difficulties, and Bhagavan Prabhu, he also left in September of that year, which resulted in a whole big part of Europe with more than 1,000 initiated devotees. They were left behind. They had no leader at that time. So then naturally some devotees even reflect that Lord Caitanya Mahaprabhu, on his 500th anniversary, he made arrangements to make some changes in ISKCON. So then 6 months after Bhagavan Prabhu left, and there was the next annual GBC meeting in Mayapur, and His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami was requested to become a GBC for the UK, a GBC for Belgium, and a GBC for Kolkata. At that time, Jagopal Prabhu, the local leader from Radhadesh, and Bhatugopal Prabhu, they both were in Mayapur at that time, and they briefly met with Maharaj, and they came back with a message that Bhakti Charu Swami is going to be our GBC. He is more like a sadhu type of a person, and his main service until now has been translating Srila Prabhupada's books to Bengali and preaching. So then maybe 1 month, maybe 1.5 months after Gaur Purnim in 1987, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami came to Belgium, came to Radhadesh for the first time, and he immediately did an effort to get to know the devotees. He was open to speak with everybody, anybody. He remembered their name, their connections. He was carefully listening to them. He was establishing a friendship with everybody. And he was also very conscious at that time that in his dealings with the devotees, that these devotees had been hurt by their guru leaving them. So sometimes he even got like some, you can say, challenging questions. And but Maharaj was always very, very compassionate and forgiving, and he dealt with them in a loving, in a very kind way. He would give nice classes, and sometimes before the class he would sing a sweet Vaishnava songs from the previous acharyas, and once in a while he would also announce at the time of the class, today I will cook for the devotees, so that and due to his previous stay in Germany as a university student, he knew what the Western devotees would like, such as spaghetti with yellow cheese, or pizza, ravioli, things like that. And whenever there was a devotee in some difficulty or something that happened, he would immediately inquire, he would immediately be concerned for that devotee and hear attentively the anguish the devotee went through. And then he would go out of his way to support that devotee, help that devotee, like that. Since Maharaj was Srila Prabhupada's personal servant in the last year Srila Prabhupada was on the planet, he was also imbibed with Srila Prabhupada's mood of compassion and personal example. He was comparing ISKCON to a big boat, and he was encouraging the devotees on behalf of Srila Prabhupada to never leave ISKCON. Whatever happens, never leave ISKCON, and to cooperate with each other and encourage one another in Krishna consciousness. That was an important mantra that His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami repeated, reminded the devotees regularly, that there will always be difficulties in this world, that's inherent with this world, but never leave ISKCON. Because ISKCON is not different from Srila Prabhupada. ISKCON is Srila Prabhupada. So he was stressing that very much. Maharaj was a real Vaishnava, is a real Vaishnava, and his behavior was outstanding. He was like the embodiment of, you can say, of Vaishnava etiquette. He was teaching that also. In Mayapur, I had the opportunity to serve as a member of the Mayapur Executive Board, the MEB we call it, and His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami was a senior member of that board together with Jayapataka Swami, Gopal Krishna Goswami and some other devotees. So when Maharaj came to Mayapur for these meetings, either from Ujjain or from any other place, then when he met his godbrothers or the local leaders, he would give them a big hug, full of love. It was always a happy meeting. I personally cherished very much this kind of exchanges with Maharaj. From the beginning, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami was always like a father for me. Whenever there was a dispute between different parties, he would always try to bring the parties together. He would be like an ideal mediator, you can say. He would keep the ISKCON family together, and he would create a spirit of forgiving and keep Krishna in the center. You could also see that Maharaj, in a mood of hospitality and service to his godbrothers and other senior devotees, he would use his facilities in Mayapur to invite devotees to take lunch prasadam together. sometimes few devotees, sometimes 10, sometimes 15, sometimes 20 devotees would be invited. And he had an excellent team of disciples, with one or two amongst them were really good cooks. And they would cook excellent prasadam, either Bengali dishes or Italian dishes were served nicely, very nicely, and very attentively also, to the full satisfaction of the invited devotees, the invited guests. Besides looking after many disciples, His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami, he established from scratch, and actually in a very short time span, few years, he established a very beautiful temple project in Ujjain. He was also, even up to recently, teaching courses in the GBC college, giving seminars, organized regularly gatherings with his devotees. He was also GBC for South Africa, Kolkata, Mayapur, etc. And he was a very inspiring and accomplished traveling preacher, always speaking about the glories of Srila Prabhupada and Krishna. So I'm dearly missing his association. His Holiness Bhakti Charu Swami Ki Jai. Thank you.